Yeah, it's time to start the show. Off the top rope, 4-figure leg lock. Ric Flair with the chest chop. Haters wonder why I never tap out. A young king like DeMarcus. Undertaker with a coffin. Choke slam so often. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Man, the boy keep flossing. Man, the boy keep talking. I'm with David.
Welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Things. And if you are watching this episode, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Wrestling with Things and like our Facebook page at Wrestling with Things. David Joseph here, joined by Sammy Joseph per usual, and we got an extra emphasis on extra special guest in the building, sports zealot, sports enthusiast, Houston fan, former athlete at multiple levels. Eleno Cuevas is joining us today. How are you, man?
Good.
You look great, man.
Brother. I'm good.
That jersey is, it looks like you just got it, man. That jersey is fresh, man.
Bring it out for the special occasions, and today seemed like a perfect day to bring it up.
Yeah, I agree.
Seeing the topic.
Let's get right into it. Let's not waste no more time. We all seen what happened to Chris Paul in the NBA playoffs. He lost in the Western Conference Finals along with James Harden. And he was literally almost right on the doorstep of the NBA Finals. But he's a free agent this summer. And this speculation whether he'll stay, he might test the free agent market. So I got to ask you, Eleno, you're the most knowledgeable Chris Paul guy I know. And you're better at challenging statements more than almost anybody I know. So, do you think Chris Paul stays on Houston?
Honestly, the first year he's been on there, this is the closest he's ever been to reaching the finals. Mm-hmm. I think with maybe an addition, maybe I've seen around Paul George.
Oh man,
he's also a free agent.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, he's also a free agent. They said he's actually a perfect fit. I mean, honestly, yeah, I want to go home, this and that. But if he wants to win a ring, honestly, Chris Paul signs. They sign Paul George. Regardless, they're probably. I just think he stays. Honestly, regardless
you see him.
I think they're gonna get. I think he's gonna stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. This is the closest he's reached the finals.
Listen.
Any team he's played on is the closest. First year, 65 wins.
I think there's some factors that you guys are missing out. When he was in that moment in Game 5, playing arguably the best ball I've ever seen him play in my life of watching Chris Paul. Seriously, he was breaking their necks.
This whole playoff, honestly.
I mean, and look what happened. Game 5, he was going so hard, and he was bringing them to willing them that win, and James Harden just left them behind. I think he has to leave James Harden. I don't think that, like I said before, I do not trust this man. It's his fault that his hamstring went down. I truly blame him.
I know what.
I blame him.
Where's this coming from?
Are you serious? James Harden left him behind.
You blame.
James Harden with every single.
Chris Paul.
He wasn't helping him with the load that game.
Chris Paul's been having a funny hamstring the whole season. He wasn't even 100% going into
this year.
Even going into the playoffs. He wasn't 100%.
It's true, but in the playoffs, James gotta help him more with that load.
I see where you're coming from. I see where Chris Paul's bringing all the power, the anguish, the toughness, everything, everything. He brought everything to the table. In one little move, he probably was extra tired because he had to bring the tough. He was literally him and PJ Tucker who grew up together. By the way, they're literally the toughest players on the team.
That game, literally. But I'm talking about that Game 5, that crucial Game 5. That was all Chris Paul.
It was.
James Harden left him hanging that game.
But that's not the point. They were there to. Chris Paul. That's what he's supposed to do in Houston.
Yeah,
it's not
winning the games is all
when
good.
James Harden has an off night, Chris Paul is there for that exact reason.
It's true, but
that's
in moments like that, you can't have an off night. Especially if you're James Harden, when you got as much to prove as Chris Paul, you cannot leave him like that. And that's why the hamstring went down.
Not to interrupt.
Get away from him. Go to LeBron.
Let me get into this. Let me give my 2 cents because it's clearly needed right now. You guys make some great points. Eleno, I definitely see your perspective. This was the first time he can actually say he sniffed the finals. He was right there. And in a weird way, him getting injured for me just gave me a newfound respect for the man and showed me his value as a player. Don't get me wrong, he has done it all. He has done it all. He's practically done everything but win a championship. He's an all-timer. He's a future Hall of Famer. But him getting injured, to me, showed that he was the most valuable Rocket on that team.
He is.
Despite James Harden is the
Postseason-wise?
MVP, but Chris Paul was the most valuable Rocket. And him getting hurt and then losing, if he was there, there's not a doubt in my mind that they would have beat the Warriors. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think leaving Houston isn't a need. He could retire in Houston, but I do think he's 32 years old, right? And this is his real last chance to test the free agency for a pretty good payday. Not that Chris Paul's all about his money, but I do think because of his value, he will want to win. Don't get me wrong, but I do think he will want. I do think he would want close to the max. I don't think he'll take a big discount.
And I can bet that Houston will give him definitely at least close to the max. Definitely, Chris Paul is definitely worth close to the max.
He is. He definitely
he's worth the max.
He showed it.
But I'm pretty sure he's willing to take a little something off to bring another player to win that championship. I'm pretty because at this point in his career, Chris Paul 12 years in.
But let me
12 years, 13 years next year.
But let me ask this: Why
going for the ring, man? He needs that ring to solidify.
It's true, but why do that with James Harden after what James Harden just did?
But I don't think you're saying that. But I don't think
James Harden is gonna ever be postseason that guy.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think he was at fault for this series because if you go back to that Game 7, missing 27 straight threes, that's the biggest.
But there was one game he was 0 for 11. There was one game he was 0 for 11.
Accurate, but let's talk about that Game 7. They were up 11 to 15 at the half, which shows me that if you played hard and had smarter shot selection and you took it to the basket more, they could have won that game. But they were so
I'm not blaming the 6 and 7 on him. I'm blaming the 5 on him. Because the 5, had he been delivering the way he was supposed to deliver, I don't think that injury would have happened to Chris Paul. Because it wouldn't have been all on his shoulders. That Game 5 was all on Chris Paul's shoulders, man.
It happened late fourth quarter where they were up. Honestly,
by a little.
Yeah, he did a spin move. What happened was he did a crossover spin move on Quinn Cook. It's like, why does he have to? I understand he's going hard. He has to play, but at that point, I don't really think he has to do all that. And it's the team's fault because the time was ticking. They weren't getting any ball movement. They were having problems with the isolation the whole series.
True.
So that's what they were just finishing getting out of. So Chris Paul had to get out of his. He did a spin. Boom, fell good. I was like, it's over.
True.
I was like, it's over. I mean, what can you do? He was going hard for his team, and it happened. I mean,
but
that's what he's there for. That's what he's there for.
Get on the phone. Hit up Braun.
He's not going to.
Hit up Melo. Hit up guys who are gonna.
We need Melo in this situation, huh?
Hey!
Come on, man. They're friends. If anybody who could bring the best guy out of Melo, it's CP3.
I love Melo.
It's CP3. Hit up Braun. Hit up Melo. Hit the guys that you trust. Hit the guys that you know will deliver in postseason.
Before we wrap it up, I got one question. Do you think Braun would be a better fit, or do you think they should just settle for Paul George because he's younger, 3-and-D player?
No, that's another guy you can't trust in that one.
I mean, if you're asking me to choose between LeBron and Paul George,
well, of course.
choosing.
I mean, a better fit for Houston.
Better fit for Houston. I mean, that's clearly we need an elite 3-and-D wing player.
Yeah,
an elite 3-and-D wing player.
That's like Ariza on steroids.
Literally, that's literally what I said the other day. I'm like, that's Ariza on steroids. I'm like, he literally can shoot way better. He has a better percentage. I mean, maybe not this year because he was playing with Russell Westbrook, and you know, you're hot and cold playing with Russell Westbrook. You either get it or you don't. Hey, I love the man. I love the man.
That's on Paul, man.
Hey,
that's
man.
on Paul.
But anyways, like I was saying, I mean, LeBron's obviously the better player, but for the system of the running gun system of Houston, them going up and down the court, LeBron is obviously there for it, but I feel like he needs to be more ball dominant.
Yeah.
Paul George is more of a 3. He'll stand at the line and wait for the ball.
Yeah.
And playing with 2 players like James Harden and Chris Paul, I mean, you're gonna get the ball. They're gonna give you the ball. They're definitely gonna give you the ball.
If you think Chris Paul's going to leave Houston or you think he should go to another team, get involved in the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Wrestling with Things.